back to another episode of the Jacksonville Buzz's Buzz on Veterans. I'm Steve Strum, along with the illustrious Colonel Chris Budahas. It's a true statement.
Oh, thank you, Steve. You're so gracious.
I am honored to sit here, but you know who I'm really honored to sit here next to? Not so much you,
Yeah.
but Brian Morgan.
Hey,
Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for
we had
having
an opportunity to talk offset real quick in all sincerity. Both of you guys, thank you very much for your service to our great country. Growing up in a military family, I know what that means. You're here to talk a little bit about CSX and what you guys are doing specifically in the military recruitment area.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, yeah, thanks a lot for having me, and
Absolutely.
I appreciate your service. You did a lot longer than me.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Ringgold, Georgia, real tiny town outside Chattanooga, not a lot going on. So I remember leaving football practice one day, and everybody staring at TVs, the towers fell.
Yeah.
You know, I went right to the little mini mall where they have the Army, Navy,
Yeah,
Coast Guard. And I was a sophomore, and I actually tried to enlist, and they broke the news that you can't just go fight in a war when you're 15.
I had to tell my stepson that.
Yeah.
That's
So-
he wants to be in the military, and he's
Yeah.
15. He's like, you got to wait a couple years.
Yeah, Godsmack Accelerate Your Life commercials were
Yeah.
blaring, and I just wanted to go contribute, but he broke the hard news. I had to wait a couple years, so I come back 17. I got my mom's permission slip, joined the Navy as a gunner's mate, left directly after high school. It stationed me here on the USS Way City.
Okay.
Yeah, had a lot of fun in Jacksonville, made a lot better friends than in my hometown, so I just decided to stay, and I've been since 2006.
Awesome.
Wow, that is absolutely phenomenal.
So that post-military career, did you go straight from the Navy and then CSX, or did you have other branches and sequels as you wound up there eventually?
Yeah, it's I did a really weird, unique journey.
Yeah.
I used to work I went to a military job fair by Recruit Military.
Okay.
Great organization. They had big mountain of a man in Texas. He was recruiting for the oil field. So right
Okay.
around the time I got out of the military, the Deepwater Horizon blew up in the Gulf of Mexico. There was a moratorium on offshore drilling where they just held all offshore drilling. They wanted to get government engineers to go out there and oversee the maintenance and learn it from the ground up.
Okay.
So he shook my hand, about broke it, and I moved to Houston, and I lived in a hotel for 2 years and went through an engineering fast track program, toured all around, did the oil field thing for about 7 years.
Wow.
And I just, that field is kind of up and down,
Yep.
so I got out of it, had a lot of experience, and I went back to Recruit Military, and I was like, hey, you guys, hooked me up right the first time. What do you got? And they're like, well, we have some openings on our team if you want to work with veterans. And
Okay.
it was weird. It's just a light bulb went in my head like, hey, went from engineering to, recruiting. And
Yeah.
I started partnering with companies, really breaking down that communication gap on how veterans feel in the companies. And, I got a big book of business. And one of the companies was ACI Learning at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Jen Mathis, real sweet
Yeah.
woman that runs ACI Learning, was like, hey, Brian, I know we work with you on Recruit Military, but do you know anybody that wants to work in-house and work with veteran students and everything? So I
Wow.
was like, I know the perfect guy.
Yeah.
So I pivoted, jumped to ACI Learning, and then I started getting a little bit of in-house experience, and then just grew, and CSX is a little bit bigger of an animal than that. So.
That's great. Yeah.
So let's take that transition. I actually have a
Yeah.
question for both of you gentlemen.
Right.
So CSX, people that don't know what that is, that they are one of the largest railroad companies in the United States.
Yep.
All around the country,
Right.
located in Jacksonville headquarters. Trains, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
trains take a lot of things to make trains happen. They don't magically appear. As a colonel, who you were responsible for commanding 3,000 to 4,000 people at a
Right.
time, ensuring safety, logistical delivery, and then it's not just about getting the bad guy, but it's also
Yeah.
making sure that your troops have water.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Small
Yeah.
detail there, because it kind of is important to live.
Yeah.
How does that type of a command structure and experience favor a company like a CSX, and why is that military person such an important role as far as experience that you're focusing on that military for CSX? So, Colonel Chris, right, 3,000 people that you really want to hire. The question I have for both of you gentlemen is why?
Oh, when he's on the market, I'm getting him.
Yeah.
Get
offer.
Get in line.
Yeah.
So why is the guy that why is this guy or the people that he has commanded such an important target for your HR recruiting?
No, leadership, above all, everything else, military has leadership embedded in them. From stepping right on that yellow line in boot camp, you're getting screamed at, all the nonsense that kind of floods out of your body, and you realize like life isn't as easy as it was when you're at mom and dad's house. But from that moment on, I mean, you're technically trained. You start learning how to deal with people, emotions, and really mission-driven leadership from every position in it. Even if you're a junior employee, if you have leadership in your bones, how you're trained, how you're delegated out, your job, you just pick up stuff a lot easier. But when you move through like technical skill sets, electronics technicians, radar technicians, welders, I mean, military fits in very well in CSX, just the nature of the business. It's engineering and operations on the most part, project management, and tech. And a lot of people are blown away. We have thousands of technology folks on our company. So just all over the field, 23, 26 states, every state basically east of the Mississippi, we have veterans everywhere. We have a massive veteran footprint.
So I off camera we're talking. When I got out of the Marines, I worked for General Electric. My second biggest client was CSX here in Jacksonville, and I saw the parallels in between. But I think the same thing you would say to somebody that's going to come want to work for CSX was probably what my boss told me. Because I asked, "Why are you hiring me?" Because he goes, "You're going to be dependable. You're going to take initiative. You're going to show up with the right attitude and the right uniform, and you're going to understand when to take a risk and when to report. Where things outside your lane." And I'm sure you're seeing that all across CSX. And I think a good point to highlight is not only do you do trains, you do HR, you do IT, you do the tech stuff. So there's a lot of opportunity in CSX, correct?
Oh yeah, and people don't realize a massive company. I mean, we have 23,000 employees. We have 150 people in our HR department.
Wow.
We have procurement, accounting, marketing, sales, all that customer service, customer solutions. I mean, it's not just out in the field working with a multimeter and a wrench.
Right.
We have a corporate headquarters downtown with 3,000 people in a white collar job.
Yeah.
So where we're located, we do very well with the transitioning tri-base. A lot of military. I just had this conversation this morning with one of the military officers I worked to help get in the company. We're in just such a blessed position in the United States to be right in the middle of three major stations, just pipelining candidates into us. So, my job and, working with the recruiting team and training the recruiting team, and, we all do very well at it. I just kind of get to be the face of the program,
That's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, we do a really good job at just working with veterans. A lot of veterans don't want to do what they did in the service, but as long as they have a roundabout skill set and they're capable of doing the job, CSX is good at taking that buff and chiseling it down into being a good career. And, my favorite thing in the company is I go to a lot of events, TAP events, everything. I talk about the transition out of the service. A lot of people, for the very first time in their lives, they're facing unemployment for the first time in many years. I remember I only did 4 years in the service, and it's still like I had my little counter, 89 days left, 88 days left, but when it gets to 30, it really does hit you as a shell shock. Like, wow, I'm about to not have a paycheck on the 1st and 15th. So a lot of people jump into these careers, and there's a staggering statistic out there that we're really putting a lot of effort in at CSX into combating and not doing that, is working with a veteran and trying to make sure that they are a cultural fit, that they're going to enjoy and thrive in the job that they do, and not just place them directly into something to get them a paycheck. Because that stat, it's like 80, I want to say like over 80% of the people leave
The last stat I
their...
saw last week was 73% of veterans will change their first job within 3 years.
Yeah.
Which means there's a mismatch of talent to position.
And I've seen it worse than that. And something that I stick my chest out in every recruiting event is our average tenure for every employee in CSX is over 15 years.
Wow.
So we were joking offset,
I grew up in CSX, and you guys know down to the minute how long you've been there.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I just hit my 2-year mark, and this is, in my career, I'm not a job hopper. I guess I am kind of maybe a job hopper, but it's just the growth that I've had has allowed me to move positions and kind of build in my career. But I'm pretty proud to be there for 2 years. And I shake somebody's hand, they're like, "I got 33 on you, buddy."
Wow. You're the new guy.
Yeah.
Well, what we'll do is there's so much we could talk about. The organization, the company, and I'm going to change the end of this thing a little bit to talk to all those people that are 33 years old that might watch this, because I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Colonel Chris, always thank you for coming. And, guys, thanks for joining us. If you like us, share us. And instead of live with gratitude, have a safe day.
Operation Barnabas is a veterans ministry. Started in 2017. with the purpose of helping our veterans that kind of got left behind, and they've struggled with addictions, PTSD, suicidal thoughts, those kind of things, helping them get whole again through one-to-one mentorship.
Being able to communicate with them and help them can drastically change their life, can drastically change a family's life. The little that we can do is put our hand out and say, hey, do you want a hand up?